Welcome, everybody, to the very first podcast. I am joined today with my good friend Isaac.
Hello.
Today we're going to kick off our first review of The Suicide Squad.
Yes.
And this one was a doozy. It had a lot of very good qualities to the movie, as well as some flaws, and we're going to sit down and we're actually going to talk about those today and kind of give our opinions. And this is going to be a spoilers review and discussion. So it says in the title, it says in the description, and I'm giving you a fair warning right now. I might even put a little thing on the screen. There will be spoilers. If you have not seen the movie, go see it first, or if you don't care, continue listening. You can pause this podcast, put it in your to-watch list, whatever you want to do, and then come back and revisit it. If you don't want to be spoiled at this time, not the podcast for you. So, firstly, we're going to introduce ourselves, since this is the very first podcast. My name is Dom. I run the channel Dom Does Reviews. Me and Isaac are both aspiring. We want to aspire to work somewhere in the film industry. I think, Isaac, you said you wanted to be a writer, is that correct?
Director.
You want to be a director?
Mm-hmm.
I know you love writing too. Did you kind of give up on that, or is that something you still want to pursue?
Yes, I still want to pursue it.
Writer and director?
I want to do, maybe 4 years of college, and then I want to do, 6 years of film school.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's quite the education.
Mm-hmm. As much school as I don't really like school, but I will do it.
Well, good. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that we both have a love for film. I personally don't really know what I want to do yet. Nevertheless, we want to make short films. Some of them will be kind of cheesy, some will be kind of more serious, depending on the equipment we have available to us. But let's get on to topic here. Like I said before, we were talking about spoilers on The Suicide Squad. So going into this movie, this was actually one of my most anticipated films of 2016.
Mine too.
Yeah, I was really surprised when I heard that Will Smith was cast for Deadshot. I knew of Harley previously, before any of the trailers dropped in this, and I knew obviously of the Joker. We had Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger perform wonderful renditions of the Joker in previous films.
Don't forget Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's iconic voice of the Joker.
Yeah, infamous voiceover of the Joker in the animated series.
Mm-hmm. And in Batman the Killing Joke.
Yeah. So we will get into the Killing Joke in a separate review.
Yep.
But heard that Jared Leto was cast as the Joker, and to no surprise, that was a war on Twitter, wasn't it?
Yes.
People were not happy about that.
Not at all.
To be fair, people were not happy, believe it or not, when Heath Ledger was actually cast as the Joker.
Yep.
Most famously known, Heath Ledger was from Brokeback Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And people were kind of 50-50 on that film as well.
Yeah.
You either liked that film or you despised that film for different reasons that we won't go into, but that's pretty much where most people knew the name Heath Ledger from, was from that film. And so when he was cast, it didn't bring as big of a fire because Twitter, I'm not saying it wasn't relevant, but it wasn't as relevant as it is now. And Facebook wasn't also a huge social media site. It was a social media site, but it wasn't as huge for, film punditry and the complaint section that a lot of studios get nowadays.
It wasn't really that much social media back in 2008.
Yeah, it was just kind of the cusp of it. I think we were still using MySpace back then.
Yeah.
that was when I was in 8th grade. So I'm pretty sure I had a hot MySpace page at the time. And what was it? The top 8, top 5, something?
Yeah.
The top 5 or top 4, I don't even remember what it was. But moving on, Jared Leto was announced to be cast as the Joker. and it started a virtual keyboard war on Twitter, and it did not, for obvious reasons, people were worried either he would be too much of a copy of Heath Ledger and the past Jokers, or they're scared that he would veer too far from the path of what the Joker was in their ideology. People have to complain about everything nowadays. It's we'll go on a different rant about that on another podcast. This is the first one.
What did you think about Jared Leto when they first announced him? What did you think? What thoughts were going through your head when you were thinking of, oh, he's going to be the Joker?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not familiar, actually, even now to this day. I'm not familiar with with Jared Leto as an actor. Like, I don't know any of his past roles, honestly.
He was in Fight Club.
He was?
Yeah, he was the blonde guy who got his face punched in by Edward Norton.
Oh, but he wasn't in much of it.
No, not at all.
Okay, see, I didn't even recognize the name from that. So I was kind of going into, when they first announced it and the trailer started dropping for this film, I was kind of new. I had seen Fight Club, but I didn't recognize him from that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of going into it at a blank slate. Very similar to what's happening with Aaron Aldenreich right now for the Han Solo and the Star Wars position,
Mm-hmm.
Or the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
A lot of similar things are happening. Again, we'll go into that later. Yeah, I gotta say, I was super excited for this film, and can we both agree that it did have its problems?
Yes, it did have its problems, but I think that I liked it a little more than you.
Yeah, you came out very, very pleased.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because you are infatuated with the character of the Joker.
I love the Joker.
And rightfully so. He is an amazing, he's an amazing, iconic villain.
Just the character development that he's had over the years, it's just, amazing. The person who created that character is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure who the creator of the Joker was, off the top of my head. That's something I would have to look up.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar. I'm pretty new to comics, so yeah, that kind of explains why I wouldn't know off the top of my head. Let's just hop into it here. I felt like the opening to Suicide Squad kind of starts out. Again, this is a spoiler review, so we can go into detail. It starts out introducing kind of all of the members of the Suicide Squad, and I felt Will Smith was actually right off of the origin story. That Will Smith and Harley were actually my favorite origins.
Yes.
I was kind of disappointed it didn't go. It kind of gave a very vague origin story of Killer Croc. Did you find that? Like it
didn't really tell you how he became what he looks like now.
Yeah,
it tells you in past comics, but that's just what you're thinking, what happened. But the new DC universe, the DC cinematic universe, they can do a whole different change on how characters are introduced.
Yeah, and so at the beginning of the film opens, and it kind of introduces all the members, and it goes individually into each one of their backstories, at least for the most part. You don't get Diablos until the end of the movie.
Mid-ish.
Kind of mid, yeah. And we'll get to that dynamic later, which I thought Diablo's past was super, super dark.
Yeah.
That was some crazy stuff that he had to go through. We'll talk about that. It kind of showed a flashback of Will Smith, rightfully so. He's kind of the leader of the Suicide Squad, even unofficially.
Yeah.
He kind of rallies everybody up and kind of takes charge.
Leader of the bad guys, at least.
Yeah.
The one good guy is Nick Flag, who is basically the team leader.
I don't even know if I'd consider him a good guy. He's more of a pawn for Violet.
Yeah.
Or for, what's
Amanda.
Violet? Amanda Wilder? Wilder? Wow. Amanda...
if you're getting your name right now.
Yeah, Google that.
Yeah.
But Nick is like more of a pawn for Viola Davis's character, and she is pure evil. Like there is obviously, you guys are listening to this, the main villain of this is Enchantress.
Yes.
Yet I felt like Viola Davis was a way more compelling and violent villain.
She really did some very twisted stuff.
Yeah, because it kind of, from the trailers, you kind of, if you're not familiar with who the character of Amanda is, you're not really, you kind of just think she's another pawn. She's like not a pawn, but another representative of the United States. You know, she's kind of on America's side.
Mm-hmm.
But man, does it go dark.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Getting into the flashback scenes, can we both agree that Will Smith's daughter is a terrible actor?
She did. Well, it wasn't his actual daughter
Actress.
in real life. I do not think that it's
No.
his actual daughter in real life. Just a kid actress.
Yeah.
But
It's not. I don't think it's
did-
Willow.
no, it's not. Willow's like, I think, a teenager right now.
Yeah.
She is not. That little girl was not a good actor at all. The way she delivered her lines, it sounded like she couldn't spit out her words.
Yeah, and she was very cardboard and stiff, and I just don't think she's ever had acting. I don't even know what she's from. If that's her first
Yeah,
movie.
that probably will be. That probably is her first movie.
You know, rightfully so. A lot of kid actors have struggles when they reprise roles so early. But there are a lot of great kid actors out there.
Yeah,
Like
especially in the new Lights Out.
Yeah, that kid was amazing.
He was great.
I heard a lot of criticism about him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like negative.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think that he was that bad of a character.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that
Yeah.
I thought he was great, but the Harley, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, she was fantastic.
Yes.
She did an amazing job at capturing and embodying everything that is and was Harley.
It was like she was born for the role.
Yeah, she encapsulated what Harley Quinn is.
Yeah.
And she was in a large portion of this film,
Mhm.
which gives me very great confidence that she can actually carry a movie.
If you're comparing a character to Suicide Squad that was in the runtime of Civil War, like of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
I think Joker and Spider-Man had kind of the same runtime.
Yeah,
And their
Joker,
characters were kind of like the same. Well, not like character development same, but in the movie.
yeah, I agree. He was very peppered in, and I'm kind of happy about that, but I'm
Mhm.
also kind of disappointed because the Joker is one of the main dividing lines with people on this film. Now, he wasn't in the movie that much, and I thought that the dynamic between him and Harley Quinn was very natural and very much depicted. It depicted a very accurate portrayal, I guess, of
Yes.
them from the comics and their relationship. It pisses me off when I see on Facebook they see one cute picture of Harley Quinn and the Joker, and they do like the hashtag goals.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like
not what they're about.
they don't understand that relationship at all, and it kind of pisses me off, honestly. But
Yeah.
they did great in this movie. They had great chemistry. Margot Robbie and Deadshot had great chemistry in this movie.
I believe they're in another film, a different film together.
They were, and I haven't had a chance to check it out, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But I do feel like that previous film that they did together helped their on-screen chemistry in this one.
Yes.
Because it was all very natural, very fluid. I bought the Joker, Deadshot, and Harley Quinn as their characters. The biggest problem I had was I thought Will Smith, as great as he was, I thought that there's just some of those actors that you see them in you see them in a new role like this, and you can't picture them as anything else but a previous movie that you've seen them in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am a big fan of the movie Hitch.
Yes, me too.
With Will
I remember you introduced me to that movie,
Yeah.
and I have loved it ever since I watched it the very first time.
It is cheesy,
Yes.
but it is a great comedy. And I feel like I'm more nice against it because of the nostalgic feel to it. Because I watched it so much as
Yes.
like a kid becoming, growing into an adult. But I felt like I wasn't going to be able to get the picture of Hitch out of my head watching Will Smith.
Yeah.
Or like the character from Independence Day. The first one, obviously, because he made the right choice not signing up for the second one and doing this movie instead.
Yeah.
But he brings that special charisma that Will Smith does, and he always brings it to all of his roles, and he definitely brought it. And not once in this movie did I think of him as Will Smith, or like as a previous character that he's portrayed,
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Everybody was thinking that he would be like the goofiest character,
Yeah.
but he has really shown in the past like 2 years that he can be in any type of movie. He can be in a drama, he can be in an action, he can be in a comedy, and we will still love him the same.
Did you get to see the movie Concussion?
No, I heard it was phenomenal though.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about that movie, but I need to still check that out. But back to, we got off on a tangent here. Back to the Joker. Now this is going to be it already is. Twitter is on fire. It's exploding. Everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
People either love Jared Leto's Joker or they hate Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah.
And me personally, I loved him as the Joker.
Me too.
Now, not to say that I didn't love Jack Nicholson
And Heath Ledger.
and Heath Ledger. They did phenomenal, and it's very, very hard to compare anybody to Heath Ledger.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot of people's definitive Joker. And what Jared Leto was able to accomplish in this movie, he took bits and pieces from
Every other
the
role.
comic.
Yeah.
He took some from Mark Hamill's Joker, from Heath Ledger's Joker, from Jack Nicholson. He took some motivation from Scarface.
Yeah.
In this movie, the Joker is basically a mob boss.
Yes.
And
I kind of loved that about him.
yeah, and that pissed a lot of people off.
I know.
I mean, I'd like to say understandably so. I personally enjoyed him. I can see where their criticism lies. But I found very much so that I enjoyed him, and his chemistry with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was phenomenal. Ben Affleck shows up in this film
Yes.
a couple times, and very short cameo, just showing off Batman for the Justice League.
Yeah.
He's if you guys, yeah, he's in there very shortly, as well as the Flash.
Yeah, the Flash is in there for 5 seconds.
Yeah,
But
Flash
when he's in there, I loved it.
yeah. Actually, I don't know that we'll get into the Comic-Con trailer later, but I wasn't impressed with the CGI for the Flash.
Really?
And I liked it in this movie. I did not like it in the Justice League trailer.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it looked really cool when he's running really fast and the lightning's going everywhere. I thought it did a really good touch on what he can see.
Yeah, maybe I need to revisit it and recheck it out. But I did, and he was in there for 5 seconds. But I did like the look of him, and I think he made one quip or something.
Yeah.
When he was in there, but they're kind of just oh hey, remember Justice League is coming out?
Yeah.
And they're just kind of promoting that.
I think Ezra Miller will do a really good job as the as the Flash. Did you see the film The Perks of Being a Wallflower?
No, I have not yet.
Oh, he played this character named Patrick, and he was just such a great character. He was like the goofy character in the movie, and it was like it's actually it's one of my favorite movies. It's a great movie. You should see it sometime.
I've heard lots of. I always hear people reference it, and I've been meaning to check it out, and it's on my list, but I have a very long list.
Yeah,
and it just hasn't made it there yet. But when you see the Flash, you're introduced. It's in the introduction of Jai Courtney's character, Captain. Is it Captain Boomerang?
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, Captain Boomerang, which is a character that previously I know nothing about. I have never read a comic that had Captain Boomerang in it. Granted, I haven't read like any comics. Like I'm starting to, but
yeah, you want to get into them, right?
I am not familiar with the character of Captain Boomerang, so I didn't have anything to compare him to. But I gotta say, Jai Courtney impressed me in this movie. Like,
I don't really like him in many movies, but he's
a lot of people don't. Like, people are like, stop trying to push Hollywood, stop trying to push Jai Courtney on us. But what I've noticed about him is that he is not so great in leading roles, but he is
great side character,
good supporting actor, and he has some range. And I thought his fetish in the movie with that pink unicorn was very funny.
Yes,
and
he really wasn't in that many good movies. He's in Terminator Genesis, which was not good at all. Have you seen it?
I heard a lot of negative things about it, and I was like, it wasn't worth my time.
It's really bad. He's in the latest Die Hard too, the 2013 Die Hard movie, and it wasn't good to me. It wasn't good to me at all. He was also in Divergent, which I did not like any of the series. A lot of like girls have liked the series, but I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I heard it was a very, I don't know if chick flick is the right word. But, yeah.
It's more of a girly Hunger Games.
Cutting into the Divergent series really quick. I don't want to get too off topic for this first one, but the fourth film is actually going straight to like streaming or like straight to DVD.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't even know if the main characters are reprising their roles, because it's like not even getting a theatrical release. That's how bad everything is doing with that. But onto the movie. After the introductions of the characters, you get to see Katana, which you said you didn't like her.
I did not like her in the film.
See, I didn't really have an opinion. She didn't do much. Like, she was there and she looked kind of cool, but it kind of gave you somewhat of a backstory on her, but
just a little.
She didn't do like anything. Like, she killed some like mobs, and I guess like her sword at the end with the whole enchantress thing was like, she hardly used her sword.
Yeah.
But other than that, she really was there for just looks. For
she was
the
just
most part.
She was like she was a side character, but she was the side character that's on the side. Like, she doesn't have any lines, and when she
does, but
not like great ones,
and not really any ones that like have anything to move the plot along. Or like, she's there for protection of Amanda Waller. Excuse me if you just heard Facebook go, but it's Waller, right? Amanda Waller.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just remembered. She's there kind of on Amanda Waller's side, but she's also empathetic to the Suicide Squad because she sees herself as an outcast, just like they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the dynamic of the Suicide Squad, and I kind of wish Marvel would take a lesson from this, because the Marvel has their own rendition of the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
But not with the same characters, obviously, but it's called the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And that's a dynamic that I'd like to see them introduce. But the whole idea of the villains being used as a task force to kill worse villains.
Yeah.
I thought that was a very interesting spin on things.
Yeah. I don't know.
DC tried to incorporate a lot more humor into this film,
Mm-hmm.
and some of it landed and some of it did not at all. For example, I thought Killer Croc, he had very few lines, and the few lines that he did deliver,
Nailed it.
I felt the exact opposite. Like, I liked Killer Croc,
Mm-hmm.
I liked his look, and I liked that he was there, but he was making quips, and like, I didn't laugh at all.
Really?
Like, yeah, he just was trying to be funny, and I got what they were doing, but it just did not work for me. Yeah, so the squad dynamic was very good. The chemistry between the squad members was very good. Where this movie was lacking for me was the script. Now, the script was only on the table for 6 weeks because David Ayer had said that they were scrambling to try to meet the predetermined release date for this film. They were kind of running in a time crunch. They only had 6 weeks to work on and finalize a script for this. And for me, I could tell. It, like, a lot of the dialogue was very good. Some of it was very cheesy, and especially a lot of things with the villain Enchantress did not work for me. Not only her dialogue, but we'll get into that in a minute. Just a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of this dialogue that the people were saying just didn't stick, like, for me. Like, there was a lot of good jokes, and there was a lot of good lines, like Harley referencing different things that have happened to her in the past with her and Batman and Joker. There was a lot of good story elements there. Just the way that they were executed just didn't work as a whole. Let's get into the second issue that I had with this movie, which is the layout of the plot, or the narrative, I guess. A lot of characters didn't have really good character motivations that didn't make a lot of sense what they were doing at certain times, considering what had just happened to them. Like, one point, Captain Boomerang, he's in the bar, he hears that they're not being tracked anymore, he walks away. He's in the next scene.
Yeah, how he just, like, pops out of an alley, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm walking with you guys.
Doesn't explain that, like, even at all.
That would have been really funny if, right when he just got up and left, that would have been, like, the end of his character.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't be in the film anymore, and that would have been awesome.
I'm very glad that they killed Slipknot at the beginning.
Yes, me too.
Because
his character wasn't really that good.
I know. Well,
he's a dude who shoots ropes.
Yeah, they didn't really introduce him. Like, they gave literally no backstory for him. So
even when they were just going through that, Amanda Waller, when she was going through that little book, you saw his face, but she didn't say anything about him. He really was not introduced at all. When he pops out of the car, you're like, who is that?
I know, he punches that one chick unconscious, and that was pretty cool, but I'm kind of glad he got his head blown off, because I didn't want to listen to him for 2 hours.
That looked pretty cool when he got his head blown off.
Yeah. And who else are we missing? Okay, so Enchantress. This is the third problem, and probably the biggest problem that I had with this film. This film, I feel like I'm talking too negative. It was very fun. I walked out having a good time in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Enchantress was a big problem for a lot of people. I thought that her in her witch form, her regular witch form, was very cool.
She looked
very scary.
Yeah, she looked awesome.
She looked at like something out of The Conjuring.
Yeah,
she
Insidious.
Was insidious. Like, she was terrifying.
She looked like the creature in Lights Out, actually.
Yeah, like almost. Yeah.
Diana. Yeah.
Like a lit up, like that, like mixed with the witch. Mixed, she was obviously a witch, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's just like her magic and everything with that whole hand scene on the table, where her hand like inverts into the shadow.
Yeah, where she like calls out Enchantress
and she's summoning her.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Props to whoever thought of that idea. That was very cool. her motivation was very silly. She was trying to build a machine so she could rule the earth. That was essentially what she was doing, because humans didn't respect her anymore. It gave very subtle backstory, like, to who her brother even was. I still don't know his name. That whole demon guy with like tentacle arms, and he sucks up people. It mentioned it one time in the movie during her introduction at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it didn't even like mention it in like dialogue. It like literally put text on the screen saying that she had a brother and said what his name was, and didn't give any information other than that.
And if you missed it, you were like, oh, you never knew who that character
Yeah, not
was.
that you really need to know, but it's just like, it kind of leaves you just like, okay, like, I don't really care what's happening to, just left me very empty.
Yeah.
And I felt like if I had gotten some backstory on why or how or, anything revolving like information on who this character was.
Yeah.
Because me coming from not being a avid comic book reader, going into this movie, and he like pops out of nowhere. Like, I know she like summoned him out of that like Horcrux, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but that little like doll thing.
Yeah.
Like, that was never explained, and I'm sure if I read the comics I would know. Or it was like voodoo magic. It's still very confusing to me even right now, and I just don't know how to explain it. And she Enchantress ultimately she gets to this point where she gets to like her next level, or I don't even know what that form is called. If you guys have seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When she's at the end of the movie and she's belly dancing and giving exposition, she's like wigging out, like doing the cha-cha, like doing the worm,
Yeah.
like trying to hump that beam behind her. I don't know what was happening there. I don't know who thought of that. Like, probably, I don't know if it was David Ayer or like one of his board members. That was awful. I hated
Bad idea.
every second she was on screen belly dancing like that. Like, that's what it looked like to me. I don't know.
I think just every single...
Like she was just sitting there like wiggling, like doing her...
Yeah.
You guys can't see me because it's audio, but it was just very, very odd, and it didn't make any sense. And every second she was on screen, I dreaded it.
Yeah,
And I was like,
in my opinion, every single time that she was on screen when she was like next level, like full like goddess,
yeah.
I did not like her. When she was just a regular witch, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'd like to see where her character goes. And then right when I said that and they made her like super goddess, I was like, wait, can you bring her back?
Yeah, and it doesn't do a very good job at explaining anything what's happening. The ending is very predictable. Like, that beam shooting up in the light. I mean, you see that in every movie. You see that in the Avengers, Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the thing to do. Like, Man of Steel had a beam of light shooting in the air. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think both movies. Like, they have, it's like the cliche to like the world-ending devastation, and it's getting so old.
And
it's just like
writers need to become more original.
Yeah, you see that beam shoot up in the air, and you're just like, come on.
We've seen this. We saw this a year ago in the Avengers.
Not again. And yeah, it was just like, that really pissed me off. All in all, I did have fun with this movie.
I really liked how in the end, how Jared Leto, the Joker comes back after everybody thought that he died.
Nobody thought that he died.
I did. I'm a very gullible person. I thought
you are very gullible if you thought that they killed off the
I thought
Joker.
that they killed him off.
No.
And he comes back in the end, and I was so happy.
You didn't seriously think that he died.
A part of me thought that a little part of me was like, oh, dude, they killed him. It would have been really ballsy if they killed him. But
It would have been really ballsy, but people would have lost their shit. Even the people that didn't
like, you just introduced him, 5 minutes of him being on screen, and you kill him.
Even if from a person that didn't like the Joker, if you had done that, they probably would have been like, good riddance. But like, you're not allowing, like we said, the Joker was a very small wild card in this film.
He was in like 12 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and the scenes that I saw, I personally liked, but it wasn't a big enough example to be absolutely certain that he can carry a standalone movie. You know, granted, he's probably going to be in the Batman prequels, or whatever we're calling them, the origin story. Or
The movie could have been all about Joker.
with Batfleck, you know?
Yeah, the movie could have been all about Joker, but it just wasn't their movie to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They were trying to establish who the Suicide Squad was.
Mhm.
There's obviously other members that eventually team up. Like, I read this thing, and I can't remember where, they were going to add King Shark into this movie.
Who's that?
It's another character. I don't really know a lot about him, but I've seen pictures of him. He basically looks like a person. He like walks like a person, but he basically has torso. He looks like Killer Croc except a shark, pretty much. But his whole upper body is like, he has like a fin. He's like King Shark. His name's King Shark, I think. And I don't know. Basically, why they didn't add him was because they were afraid of having an all CGI character in this movie.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. He'll probably be back. And now the whole situation with Joker and Harley seems like he got her back like 2 or 3 times within this movie. He got her back, lost her, got her back, lost her, and well, granted, one of them was a flashback, but anyways, like
one was a flashback. The other one, did the helicopter get shot down?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think Amanda had it shot down with her missile.
Yeah, she had it shot down because she wanted Harley dead.
Yeah, and
for escaping.
And Will Smith didn't want to.
Will Smith didn't want to shoot her because I think he kind of likes her, like not like a like, but like a really good friend.
Yeah, and I was kind of worried that they would interject that kind of 3-way romance,
love triangle,
and I was really hoping they wouldn't. It didn't
like
look
Bella and Twilight.
It didn't look like they did. Like not that Harley has any feelings for Deadshot anyway.
But you did see some flirted.
Well, yeah, that's just in Harley's nature. She was flirting. Yeah. She flirts with everybody, even girls. But
she even flirted with Killer Croc.
I know. Yeah, she's kind of just all sorts of crazy, which is exactly who Harley Quinn is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was your opinion as far as the trailers versus what you saw in the movie? What was your opinion on Diablo? El Diablo.
You didn't really see him that much in the trailers. Like, you always just saw him in the back. Sometimes you saw him, like, shooting the flames out of his hands. But I went into the movie not thinking to expect much of him. But you really got such an emotional character from him. And just such good character development. I think he was one of my favorite squad members.
Yeah, I think they did a very, very great job about... They didn't show his origin in the beginning, because I felt like we would have thought differently about him had we found out at the beginning of the movie. They kind of put it in like towards the middle-ish end.
I like how they did that.
The end of the second act, beginning of the third act.
They showed you in the beginning how he torched everybody.
Well, yeah, they showed you that, but I'm talking about the whole situation with
how
with him killing his wife,
how he became into the jail. Yeah,
and you see the remorse and the regret on his face. He did a very good job portraying that emotion in the movie. And
Jay Hernandez, I think that's the person who played him.
I believe so.
Yeah.
If so, props to you. Yeah, he did an amazing job, and I hope to see him in the future. Yeah, I didn't really have an opinion on him. I did feel like his character was very reserved at the beginning, and it was waiting for that payoff of him finally snapping with Will Smith. You know,
Will Smith trying to get him angry.
Will Smith pushes him to that point, makes him snap, and he finally unleashes his fire because he was very against it at first. You know, he felt
didn't want to harm anybody like he did his family.
Yeah, he felt very, a lot of remorse, and he was fed up with who he was, and he was kind of ashamed. But I felt like the payoff wasn't as good because we had seen that in the trailer. Like in the back of my mind, he was very reserved. He didn't want to fight. He's like, no, I'm peaceful. But in the back of my mind, I was like, we just seen this dude torch like 30 guys in the trailer. We
Yeah.
we saw that entire scene of Will Smith pushing him past his breaking point. They even made a joke about it, which actually wasn't in the movie, where when they're at the bar and she's like, "What do you want to drink?" And he's like, "Water." She's like, "That's a good idea."
You see him drinking water in the bar.
You see him drinking,
but
it never addresses it.
Mm-hmm. They cut out a lot of stuff from that.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder. But back to the Diablo thing real quick. Like, I knew that scene was gonna happen. Like, right when they entered the building, and then it just was very predictable that they were gonna set him up for that scene.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as powerful or as magical because I had already seen it. And which is kind of a double-bladed sword, because we kind of would have went into Suicide Squad. We already did, like, not expecting to really care for Diablo, but we really wouldn't have cared for Diablo if we hadn't seen, like, him shoot fire out of his...
Yeah.
And they set it up for a lot of great jokes in the trailer, I understand, but just it was just something that stuck in the back of my mind for the entire time.
I heard an interviewer talking with Jared Leto, and Jared Leto was saying that they cut out like 10 or a little less minutes of the Joker. He had so many deleted scenes in the film.
That's interesting. Wrapping this up real quick, like, do you have any other thoughts on anything we should discuss in this movie?
Not really.
I feel like there wasn't, like, we discussed the problems, we discussed how good the Joker was to us. Again, I can't see where people are coming from, having liked Heath Ledger's Joker better, but I think it's unfair to compare the two.
Yeah. You can't really compare them because they're two separate, like, developed characters. I know I'm saying character development a lot, but they're two separate characters, way different than each other.
Yeah.
And you can't really compare them.
Yeah.
You can compare performance-wise, but even then, it's kind of hard because Heath Ledger was in it for like an hour of the movie, compared to Jared Leto, who's only in it for 12 minutes in a 2 hour and 10-minute movie.
Yeah, I think once, I don't know for sure, I don't think it's been confirmed anywhere, but I would imagine that Jared Leto would show up in the Batman solo films. Or at least one of them.
He's going to.
If not all of them, because the whole introduction in Batman vs Superman to the Robin outfit, it was a very clear reference to the Joker, ha ha ha, the Jason Todd outfit.
Which I'm hoping it will be Jason Todd.
I'm sure it will be.
It will be.
Not that it has to be, because, the cinematic universe, they can kind of change whatever they want.
Yeah, but it's like one of the most beloved comics, of all time.
I would like to see that storyline addressed.
Yes.
And see...
Maybe even a little side film about it.
Yeah, and see Leto actually go about killing Jason Todd. That sounds bad, but... I think once people get a larger sample size of him...
They'll like him more.
Again, there's always going to be the hate. There's still people that don't like Heath Ledger's Joker, but they prefer Jack Nicholson or...
People just seem to hate about, everything these days.
I know.
Got a new puppy. Oh, that thing's ugly.
Yeah.
Give it back to the owners.
Kill it. No.
Kill it? What?
Anyways. That basically wraps up my personal thoughts.
Mine too.
And kind of our discussion here today about... there's Facebook again. Our discussion here today about Suicide Squad and kind of our thoughts and... whatnot about the movie. So yep, that's gotta wrap it up, and hope you guys did enjoy this episode 1 of the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, and thank you for joining, and I'm sure you'll be on here pretty much every time, but I don't really have anybody to guest on this right now, so we will just work from here. And thank you for watching. If you guys did, please help us out by touching that subscribe button. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Our videos will pop up in your subscription feed, and you guys can hang out. So if you guys... I'm rambling on now. Just subscribe, and thank you for listening sincerely. And we'll see you guys in the next podcast.
Bye.